Welcome to the show. You know, on Motorsports TV, we talk a lot about NASCAR because, well, that's the world that I live in. But today, we're going to enter another realm of motorsports where 9,000 horsepower and the drivers crazy enough to wheel these things are going to burn rubber and leave you in the dust. I'm Chris Lafferty, and this is Motorsports TV.
I know you so much better than you think I do, and I hear it in your silence, dazed and confused, and I felt you reaching for me, sick of the abuse, still loathing past afflictions. Help me, help you. I know inside it shines beneath distrust, and I sense your hesitation go to the touch.
Chris Lafferty's Motorsports TV is brought to you by Coma Unwind. Coma Unwind, the relaxation drink. Okay, I'm a big music fan, and oftentimes people say, look, you're either an Elvis guy or you're a Beatles guy. Well, in my world of circle track racing, they often say you're either a circle track racer or you're a drag racer. Today, we're going to intermingle those two worlds.
Yeah.
Herbert! Doug Herbert. All right, on to a win. With race control to see if he's going to stay in. And he is not. Doug Herbert runs a 452, 323 miles an hour.
To Doug Herbert. Where did they pull that one from?
I'm standing here in my good friend Doug Herbert's race shop. Hey Doug, how's it going?
Good to see you.
You know, it's been for years and years that guys have said you're either a drag racer or you're a circle track guy. And you're a drag racer, I'm a circle track guy. I don't know a whole lot about these dragsters. What would you say is your favorite part of the world that you live in?
Well, first let's get one thing clear. I'm a racer. I like racing. It goes straight, it turns, whatever. I like racing. I like going fast. I'm a racer. You came here today to talk a little bit about Top Fuel Car. You know, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of interesting things on these cars.
I always think about the parachute here. Now, Doug, when I think parachutes, I think jumping out of a perfectly good airplane, pulling a chute, and floating down to safety. But you're not pushing this car out of an airplane. I mean, you need this parachute for what reason?
Well, these things stop. And the parachutes are an air brake. So when that chute comes out, it takes the car from 320 miles an hour down to 200 miles an hour in about 1 second. So it's about like you hit a wall.
Wow.
And you know, you need to do that because there's not very much shutoff area generally.
Right.
We've got really good brakes on the cars. They've got carbon brakes, but carbon brakes are pretty expensive, and it takes a lot of control to get the car stopped smoothly with the brakes because these tires, they tend to wind up. So you get on the brakes too hard, the car starts bouncing around, you lose control of the car, it's not a good deal. So the parachutes are critical.
And so the air brake, the parachute, is a more stable way of getting this race car slowed down, keeping it under control so that you can go from 320 to a manageable speed before you hit that wall at the end of the track.
Well, sure. Another thing they do, because the parachutes are tied onto the back of the car, when they come out, the car's out of shape. It'll straighten the car out, and so it solves a lot of problems making the chutes come out. And actually, NHRA's mandated some rules after Scott Coletta's accident a couple years ago that the chutes, there's a trigger about 300 feet past the finish line that if you don't have the chutes out by then, it pulls them out automatically.
It automatically triggers it. Now that's a computer controlled trigger, huh?
Computer controlled, yeah.
Wow. So in the event that you're knocked out or something's ill-fated, that parachute's coming out. Now the next thing that you notice in a top fuel car is this big wing here. Now a lot of guys at home, they don't fully understand how important that wing is to keeping these tires planted on the ground. I mean, can you kind of enlighten us a little bit on that?
Well, yeah, the wing on these cars is actually is a tremendous amount of downforce. They have about 8,000 pounds of downforce at 300 miles an hour. So just imagine stacking two Chevy Suburbans on this wing stand.
Right.
That's about what it is, 8,000 pounds.
Now let's take a look at this big engine right here. Now this is a little bit of horsepower right here.
These things, well, a lot of people don't realize these things make about 9,000 horsepower. We run a supercharger with about 50 pounds of manifold pressure. The main reason why they make so much power is the fuel, nitromethane. And nitromethane, like model airplane fuel, makes a lot of power. Model airplanes might run on 10 or 15% nitro. We run these on 90% nitromethane.
90%,
and,
wow.
So 500 cubic inch supercharged nitromethane, stand back.
Wow, yeah, that's a lot of power. That's like taking sticks of dynamite and jamming them into this engine and light them. That's pretty amazing.
Get all the Motorsports TV scoop and get your official gear by visiting LaffertyTV.com.
You're always so refreshed and relaxed. What's your secret?
I drink Coma Unwind.
Oh, I don't like energy drinks.
It's not an energy drink.
Well, with the kids, I just don't feel comfortable drinking a beer.
Oh, it doesn't have alcohol in it either.
Well then, what is it?
It's a liquid relaxation product with natural ingredients. It's been proven to calm your mind, relax your body with no side effects. And I've never had a better night's sleep.
Coma Unwind, now available at Walmart.
Trick Shot Penetrating Lubricant. It does the trick. Unlocks seized parts, breaks rust loose, lubricates and protects metals, fights corrosion, removes adhesives and grime. Non-flammable, non-toxic, 100% biodegradable. Trick Shot. It does the trick.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Now, one of the things that I know with these cars is your clutch is basically, that's your moneymaker right there. I mean, for me, when I get up to speed, I've got my transmission, I pull through my gears, I get in my high gear and I'm going. But this clutch is what keeps these tires from spinning and puts that power to the ground. Is that right?
Well, you can imagine. So with 9,000 horsepower, we can spin the tires about any time we want. So it's all about a smooth application of power. So the clutch in these cars is it's a 5-disc clutch that gets rebuilt every run because it burns it up. There's no transmission in the car, so it's a high gear only. So it'd be like one of the viewers taking their car and putting it in 4th gear or 5th gear, mashing the gas pedal down and then using your foot to slip the clutch.
Right, right.
But don't do that at home because you'll wear your clutch out. People ask me, what does it feel like to go 300 miles an hour? Well, you don't really get that sensation driving this car of going fast. You get the sensation of acceleration. They go 0 to 100 in 3/4 of a second.
Wow.
0 to 300 miles an hour in just over 3 seconds. So you're not really feeling the speed, you're feeling the acceleration. I mean, it's just like, imagine you're sitting at a stoplight and a big semi truck comes in and rear ends you going 100 miles an hour.
Runs you into the back. That's what it feels like to drive.
A lot of fun, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's move up to your cockpit because your cockpit is slightly different than mine. I mean, your seat is essentially a cage that's formed around you.
Pretty much, yeah. The car's built around the driver, so this car's built around me. The seat is molded to me. A lot of safety features involved with the top fuel cars. Quite a bit of safety and innovation. You wouldn't imagine that a car could crash going 300 miles an hour and the driver could walk away, but that happens, that happens once in a while in these cars.
Regular 5-point harness system, is that right?
Well, we actually have a 7-point harness in here. We've got arm restraints and leg restraints in these cars, so you don't want your leg or your arm to fly out of the car.
Your fire suit and helmet, let's talk about that for a second. Now, In our world, we got multi-layer Nomex suits, we've got fireproof shoes and gloves and helmets. Basically the same
We
stuff?
were the same thing. It's just going to be a lot heavier because there's a lot more potential for a big fire in here,
Right.
probably.
Take me through what each component does.
Well, you know, the steering wheel in these cars, that's the first thing people look at is, how do you steer with that? Well, going down the track in a top fuel car, your steering is kind of like, if anybody has ever flown a small plane, like a little 152 Cessna or something, a dragster drives a lot like a little small airplane. It takes generally pretty light movements on the steering wheel, but quick. So you're quick on the steering wheel, but you're light. This button is to automatically deploy the parachutes if you want to deploy them with a button. I'm kind of an old time guy. I've got levers in here. We've got a display that displays all the data that the computer records.
Well, I'll tell you what, this thing is just so long. What do you say we go to the front of this thing and look at your front tires here?
Now the most important thing with a top fuel dragster, you got to remember, is the small tires go in the front and the big tires go in the back.
Wait, I'm gonna have to write that down. Now, when you're at speed and you're fighting that little steering wheel, is this car steered obviously with the tires touching the ground, but does the air help deflect the nose of that car?
Yeah, the front wheels actually act a little bit like rudders on an airplane.
Well, let's walk around this side of this thing, and what is underneath this body here? I mean...
One of the things that people already ask is, what is this little scoop here?
Oh, I already know that. We don't need to talk about that. That's air conditioning for the driver because you're in the car for so long, right?
Not exactly. Yeah, that, what we've done is, the fuel tank, we want to get the fuel tank as far forward as we can to help hold the front end of the car down, because that nitromethane, you know, we've got that 12 or 13 or 14 gallons of fuel that we're not burned off yet is sitting in the front. Well, nitromethane's heavy, it weighs about 10 pounds per gallon. So we're using that as ballast to keep the front end down as we leave the starting line. There's a big fuel line. We've got about a 2.5-inch fuel line going from the front of the car back through the driver's compartment back to the engine.
Wait, your fuel line is 2.5 inches in diameter.
Yeah.
That's bigger than most people's exhaust pipes on their car, and that's moving your fuel.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so watching these things on TV, it looks like when you take off, the center of this car picks up, and this thing gets in a little bit of a bent position.
They arch as they go down the track with that wing pushing down on the back, the front end wing pushing down on the front. The cars arch up in the middle. So as they leave the starting line, they're straight. As the finish line, they're bowed up in the middle, maybe as much as 8 inches or so. You know, back years ago, the bodies were mostly made out of either magnesium or aluminum, and their panels, there's probably like, you know, 5 or 6 panels down each side and on the top. So that as that frame flexes at 8 inches, you know, something's got to give.
Right.
Well, when we first put these bodies on there, not really thinking about that, we mounted the bodies solid. Well, the bodies were breaking every run. So we slotted them out and made it so that the frame can flex underneath the body and the body stays straight, which is kind of what we've came up with these one-piece bodies now. And there's, I think there's more guys now and I don't know the exact reason, they're going back to those light magnesium panels. There's more flex in them. Maybe they think that there's something, you know, binding up with these one-piece bodies.
Right.
I think it's probably the opposite. I think there's less binding on these, but don't know.
Right, interesting, interesting. Well, I tell you what, I noticed that you have an engine block that's torn down that had a few issues. So why don't we go take a look at that block and take me through what happened with that thing.
I'll try. Sometimes they blow up so bad it's hard to tell what happened. But we'll look.
Right, all right.
Portions of this program are brought to you by DIYAutotune.com. Tune it yourself, tune it for less, tune it right.
Do you have poor throttle response? Do you get cramps in your leg from humping the gas pedal in the morning? Then you may suffer from CCD. The good news is, you don't have to suffer from CCD any longer. With just one dose of EFI, you will have rapid acceleration, instant throttle response, feelings of joy and happiness, and better gas mileage. When high performance lasts for over 4 hours, please consult the nearest gas station for continued satisfaction.
Trick Shot Penetrating Lubricant. It does the trick. Unlocks seized parts, breaks rust loose, lubricates and protects metals, fights corrosion, removes adhesives and grime. Non-flammable, non-toxic, 100% biodegradable. Trick Shot. It does the trick.
I'm Hannah, and this is Hannah's Corner. Take a moment to consider how you would feel if you received a call about the death of your loved one. We would like to talk to you about a very important program called Brakes. NHRA driver Doug Herbert received that tragic call while testing his top fuel dragster in Phoenix, Arizona. He lost both of his teen sons in 2008 due to a car crash near Cornelius, North Carolina. Rising from his loss, Mr. Herbert was inspired to make a difference by preventing teen crashes.
In 2008, my two sons were killed in a car accident, and at that time, I knew of teenagers that were killed in car crashes, but until it really affects you directly, it's kind of one of those things that you just don't think happens very often.
Is there anybody out there?
I was in Phoenix, and
Can anybody hear me scream?
their mom called me and told me that John and James were in an accident,
There's nobody calling.
and that she thought they might be dead.
Baby, was it you or me? She said she was.
There's about 6,000 teenagers every year that are killed in car crashes, and I thought, wow, why aren't we doing something about that? So I got together my son's friends and I said, hey guys, we're going to do something about this. We're going to make a difference here, and we're going to really do something to make it happen. And they helped me come up with this name, Brakes, which stands for Be Responsible and Keep Everyone Safe. And my kids' friends came up with that, so it's pretty cool. It's got some meaning to it, and we put on driving schools. We put over 3,000 kids through an advanced driving school. Teach them a lane changing exercise, a distraction course. So we do some pretty advanced stuff with them, and we require parents to come. So it's usually parents like dragging their teenagers there, and they're all pissed. I'm like,
Right.
what am I doing? Why are you doing this to me?
Right.
And then when it's time to leave, they're like, this was awesome. I can't believe I didn't want to come. So it's a little bit of a relationship building thing. And I think we're making a difference. I think we're making a difference. We want to do something and make that number that's less, because not only is there more than 5,000 teenagers every year that are killed in car accidents, which is the number one killer of teenagers.
Right.
There's 500,000 teenagers every year that go to emergency room with life-threatening accidents. When I talk to them, it comes from my heart. The kids come into the school and they might not know what it's about. They come in. We have the top fuel dragster sitting there, so they come in. They're like, "This is kind of cool. I wonder if I'm going to get to race this car."
Right.
Kids, they don't know what's going on. And then we play a video, and they get it, and they go, "Okay, I guess I know why I'm here." And I think that's what seems to make us a little more successful than maybe some of the other. There's a lot of teen driver programs, but it's free. It's a charity. It's nonprofit. We do fundraisers and so forth to raise the money to put on the schools, and we do them all around the country. But there's a reason behind it, and I think that the teenagers get that, and they just like these instructors so much, and they like what we're teaching them, because we're not cramming it down their throats. We're telling them, hey, we want to help you, and this is why we want to help you. And they go, okay, I get it. I've kind of became, I guess, a little bit of an authority on teenage driving, and I didn't really want to, but I was kind of pushed to it. And then I've been in a little bit of a position because of my racing and media contacts and so forth to, hey, help me, let's make a difference here. And I think that's what we're doing. And ESPN and Speed and Fox and all these people have gotten behind us saying, I didn't realize that was such a big problem. Let's see what we can do. As parents, we've got to learn to be a good role model for our teenagers. Whether it's putting on your seatbelt, not talking or texting on the phone while you're driving, distractions, eating, tuning the radio, makeup, whatever, shaving. Well, to learn more about brakes, they go to the website, which is putonthebrakes.org. There's schedules on there. There's driving tips they can download. There's a lot of information. It's a great place to go.
Mr. Herbert created the program Brakes. Brakes stands for Be Responsible and Keep Everyone Safe. The purpose of Brakes is to train teen drivers how to handle stressful driving situations. There are 5 different classes that teach teens to become better drivers. To support the Brakes program, parents should stop by www.putonthebrakes.com.
Go there right now. putonthebrakes.com.
You're always so refreshed and relaxed. What's your secret?
I drink Coma Unwind.
Oh, I don't like energy drinks.
It's not an energy drink.
Well, with the kids, I just don't feel comfortable drinking a beer.
Oh, it doesn't have alcohol in it either.
Well then, what is it?
It's a liquid relaxation product with natural ingredients. It's been proven to calm your mind, relax your body with no side effects. And I've never had a better night's sleep.
Coma Unwind, now available at Walmart.
The Ring brothers know a thing or two about performance, and they've got the trophies to prove it.
I wouldn't say our cars are better than the originals.
No, we're just bringing these old classics up to speed.
And part of that is by using Royal Purple.
It protects these big engines and makes them last a lot longer.
And you get more torque and horsepower too. We use Royal Purple in all our vehicles.
From our daily drivers to these classic show cars.
Royal Purple, the performance oil that outperforms.
This is a mess here.
Exactly right. This is when things go wrong. It goes wrong in a pretty big hurry in a top fuel engine.
Yeah, now I've built enough motors to know that when you have a collection of miscellaneous small parts that you didn't put in there to start, that's bad.
Yeah, when you pull the rods out in small pieces, it's a very bad thing. And like I said, this was one of those, a little bit of a freak thing where the car spins the tires. It was a situation where, when you're not qualified for the race, you've got to get down the track. You're probably doing something that you wouldn't normally do and getting on and off the throttle during a qualifying run, and bad things happen. So that's where this ended up. And everything, it has to be pretty precision. It's got to all work together. That's one thing that we do here at my shop at Doug Herbert Performance. We do the engine balancing. We do blueprinting on all these parts. We do honing on the sleeves. We make sure that this thing's perfect. It's the same thing that we do for any customer's engines that we build here.
That's neat. I mean, I don't know if this is official, but Doug is integrating the two worlds of circle track and drag racing and making one big happy family here. Well, Doug, I tell you what, I really appreciate you taking us into your shop. I've learned a lot. This is so neat to me, and I look forward to learning more from you.
All right, race fans. This is where the rubber meets the road. Today's segment is going to be all about tires. And what I've done is I've cut away a portion of this tire so that I can, well, I'm not exactly sure why I cut away a portion of this tire.
His way, my way, and I was 6 seconds faster.
Well, as we all know, it's tires that wins a race.
Yeah. We all know tires is what wins a race, but let's get a little serious on this thing and talk tires and explain to these guys what these tires are all about. Now, the first thing that most people see is they see that we don't have treads like their street car. Well, check this out. Your street car only has the treads on the tires to displace water so that you can drive in the rain. And when people say that we run on bald tires, it's not entirely true. I mean, that is what a new tire would look like. It's not bald, it's a slick. And a slick means we got more rubber to the racetrack, which ultimately means more rubber on the track means we can go faster and faster and faster. Well, that's been our show. A special thanks to Doug Herbert for letting us come hang out at his shop. And be sure to check out his website at putonthebrakes.com. As always, drive safe. And while you're waiting for the next great episode of Chris Lafferty's Motorsports TV, be sure to check us out on the web at LaffertyTV.com, and of course, follow us on Facebook. I'm Chris Lafferty, and this has been Motorsports TV.
I know you so much better than you think I do, and I hear it in your silence, dazed and confused, and I felt you reaching for me, sick of the abuse, still loathing past afflictions, help me, help you. Inside it shines beneath this.
Next line.
Oh, my next line is.
What was it, the Harry Hyde thing? Cut. Let's start over.
Get all the Motorsports TV scoop and get your official gear by visiting LaffertyTV.com.